Waze started in 2007 and was acquired by Google in 2013. I left the day after the acquisition in order to start a new startup. But this new startup, I knew from 2009 that this is what I'm going to do next. And the reality is that you run into a problem, you run into an opportunity, you tell yourself, okay, the world is going to be a better place if that will be different. And you kind of starting to think about it in the back of your mind, and as soon as you're ready, as soon as you do have the time and effort and willing to sacrifice, then you go and do this journey again. So in entrepreneurship, this is exactly like falling in love, right? So you go into your own idea, you think of your idea, and it takes you a little bit of time to evolve that, and you fall in love with your own idea. And it's the same that you are going into a date, and there are many ideas or many dates that you go to, and eventually there is one that you fall in love to. And then it's like, you're starting to keep on thinking of this idea and developing your own solution in your own mind. And then you start to share that with your friends, which is exactly like taking your date to meet your friends. And when they tell you that your ideas suck or that she's not for you, then you actually get rid of your friends. And the reality is that you are in love with your own idea. And this is what it takes. If you're not in love with your own idea, you're not going to have enough of energy to go through the hardship of the journey. And so to a certain extent, I would say, if you don't love what you're doing, find something else that you do love. Because this is the recipe for a happy life. If you love what you're doing, then you will keep on doing that with love every day. Right? If you don't, you are going to be miserable, and you don't deserve to be miserable. So think about it. Think of something that you love and try to do that. What prevents a lot of entrepreneurs of going into this journey is fear of failure. So they're afraid of failing. And the reality is that if you're afraid of failing, and because of that you are not doing, you already failed. But the journey itself is actually going from one failure to another failure. You try something, it doesn't work. You try something else, it doesn't work. And you keep on trying until you find something that does work. And then you know that you are actually on the right path. But the realization of the journey is that you have hypotheses, you have assumptions, and you are trying to find whether or not they are right. And this is going from one failure to another failure, from one test to another test, from one try to another try, until you find something that works. How the market will change. Who is going to be out of market if you are successful? When Waze started, there were map makers, there were traffic makers, there were navigation makers, there were navigation devices. All of them ceased to exist, right? It took us 5 or 6 years. And after that, today, there are still map makers, but they are much smaller today than before. Nearly no one is trying to build traffic information anymore. Navigation apps, nearly nothing. Navigation devices, they disappeared. If you would go to all of the successful companies that were startup at the beginning and went fundraising and ask them, how was that at the beginning? Nearly no one believed in them. It was the same with Google, it was the same with Facebook, it was the same with nearly everyone. That people don't believe when you have an innovative approach, when you have a disruption approach. What they do, they go and speak with the experts, right? Now the experts, they know how to make maps, right? They know how to collect traffic and build traffic information. They don't believe that crowdsource can do that. And so in general, they say this is impossible. And it's huge reward when people tell you that this is impossible and you just go and prove that it is possible. 2012, this is where the magic happened. This is where Waze was growing faster than the entire industry together. So all the navigation apps and navigation devices and anything in this space together, Waze was actually growing faster than all of the industry together. And in 2013, we were growing at about 4 million users a month, And Google came up in the middle of the year and basically put a proposal to acquire us. And there were a few things that we discussed with them, that Waze will remain Waze and still helping drivers to avoid traffic jam. But eventually, that was a pretty quick deal for everyone. And Waze was acquired June 2013. And I left the day after, literally the day after the acquisition. I left in order to start a new startup.